Things have been a little crazy lately. But when are they not? You remember back in October when I mentioned that I was getting something really unusual from my uncle? Well, you could consider this the big reveal. That's Fred. He is our newest and most interesting bit of decor. I will have a whole video later on explaining the interesting story of how Fred came to be at my house, but I kind of figured it was a good idea to have him as the backdrop of this particular video, just because it's mostly about the unlikeliness of our life. Like having a moose on your wall, because you can't find those at Walmart. I feel like thematically through my life, I'm in this sort of strange Bermuda Triangle of unlikeliness. Little farmer boy cameo. Say hi. Hi. There's a lot going on right now, and I'm trying not to feel a little overwhelmed. And it's a lot of big stuff. And so I'm trying to kind of... I thought I would go ahead and do an update on how things are going. I've got a little spare time right now, and so I thought this would be a good chance to do a quick video update. Adventure Acres, aka the Bermuda Triangle of Strangeness. Probably the most concerning headline of what has been going on lately is that the last day of November, we were over at a friend's house for supper, and Rose had a sudden and very violent allergic reaction to something. Lucky us, this is not our first experience with anaphylaxis. My husband had an allergic reaction at my senior prom. He almost died. That was how we dipped our toes in the big bad world of allergies. I have also experienced allergic reactions to medications. And so between the two of us, my daughter has just hit the jackpot in the lucky world of allergy having. Okay, I've spent like the past couple of weeks with a teenager, and so my brains are a little melted. I should just offer that disclaimer. Not only that, but when Rose was a little tyke herself, she also had a big bad fatal allergy to peanuts. It started off a little milder, but right around her third birthday, actually on her third birthday, she had a big bad anaphylactic reaction. We had to rush her off to the emergency room. Happy birthday to you. She had a very, very serious reaction to peanuts, and her system was highly sensitized to it. And so from the ages of 3 to 6, we lived in a peanut-free bubble, and that was life for us. We were very excited because when she was 6 years old, we were given the opportunity to enroll her in one of the very first desensitization trials here in our area. And so she went through peanut desensitization, and for the past 7 years, she has been completely liberated from the peanut-free bubble, which has been awesome, a complete game changer, because life was very isolating and complicated, and I will admit also fairly scary. It's not fun in the peanut-free bubble. If you know someone who has a kid with serious allergies, it is no fun at all. And you're just trying to do your best to protect your kid. I know that there are some people who kind of roll their eyes and think that people are overreacting and doing it for attention. I can think of a lot more fun things to do for attention. Like anything, mostly. So it's been like 7 years since we've had to think about anaphylaxis and how it may suddenly wipe out one of our family members. Mr. Adventure's anaphylactic trigger is something that's not as common. He takes precautions, but it's not as readily available. And thankfully, this is not our first rodeo. We were able to recognize right away that something big, bad, and serious was happening, and to get her to the emergency room and have her treated before it got worse. It was still very serious, though. Of course, the next couple of weeks were spent with her recovering from the allergic reaction, and also the medications that you have to take for the reaction can cause side effects, and they're not very fun. Granted, more fun than the alternative of not being able to breathe. She had to not only recover from the allergic reaction itself, but also from the side effects of the medicine used to treat it. On top of that, we had a lot of appointments to go to and a lot of logistics to try to figure out, because we have no idea what set off this allergy. I never thought I would look back on the peanut-free bubble fondly, but at least we knew what to keep out of the bubble. Unfortunately, we have no idea what it was that caused this reaction. When you have an anaphylactic reaction to some kind of allergen, a lot of the safety procedures when it comes to this sort of an allergy are avoiding the allergen. If you don't know what it is, how can you avoid it? Needless to say, that is rough. It could be anything. It makes things so much more complicated because we don't know what caused the reaction. And so we had to kind of do a lot of troubleshooting. We worked with our school district to try to find a way to keep her safe. We set up safety protocols for here at home. Typically, after a reaction like this, your body is more sensitized to the allergen and will have a worse reaction the next time. And we have no idea what it is. Was it something she ate? Was it something she breathed? Was it something that bit her? Was it, who knows what it was? We have no idea. So in the middle of what is quite possibly one of the busiest times of year, we have had to put everything else on the back burner and try to figure out what we're going to do about this and get all of our ducks lined up, come up with an allergy safety plan, and that has been really complicated, and it has eaten a lot of my time and attention, and has frankly caused a bit of stress. I will admit that. It's hard because as a parent, you want to keep your kids safe, and at some point, sometimes there's no guarantee. You just have to train your child to be vigilant and to be wise and to understand how to act if they come into a situation that's dangerous. And you just gotta equip your children to be able to handle stuff. Rose is a very responsible young lady. She's very wise for her age. She's got a level head. I do take comfort in knowing that she is so level-headed and that she is very prudent about kind of making sure that she knows what to do. And she's very safety-minded and is good at advocating for herself. And I have to send her out into the world. I can't keep her locked up in her room. I mean, it's entirely possible that whatever she had the reaction to was in her room. We did send out some blood tests to see if we can get some clues as to what triggered this reaction, but unfortunately, we may never know. Not at all stressful. So the second big headline of what's going on lately is that my husband is buying the family a jackhammer for Christmas. Yay! Most people probably don't buy a jackhammer the week before Christmas, but again, we've kind of established that our life is weird. Mr. Adventure has been working on the foundation of what was the most recent addition onto the household 30 plus years ago or so. I'm not really sure. Part of the reason that this came to our attention was because last fall we were hearing these sounds underneath the floor that were not comforting. Some little rodenty critters. Although you do not want to hear little scampering things underneath your floor ever, because that's not fun. It was an unfortunate blessing in disguise because they alerted us to the fact that the wood had weakened in that section of the house. Thankfully, there were no more scamperings. Mr. Adventure is, of course, a very capable do-it-yourselfer, and so he did a lot of research on the subject. He contacted various resources and did a lot of troubleshooting so that he could find the best way to fix this foundation issue. Ideally, in a situation like this, you would raise the foundation up and then do the repairs. It's near impossible to get into the crawl space because it's so shallow. And so he had to do a lot of troubleshooting to try to figure out the situation. He has been able to do the bulk of the repair work.
First, I'm going to dig down about 8 inches all along, and then I'm going to replace the wood here, and then I'm going to put some metal flashing from about here to here. We'll have a barrier for both water and critters from getting in. And then since I'm going to bring the ground down to about here, any water that pools up is just going to be in contact with the concrete, so we don't have to worry about the wood rotting anymore.
The last remaining portion of the foundation that he was going to work on was the part that was behind our front step. Now, it was largely obscured from view. It is not only one of the worst areas, but it is also the most complicated to get to. It's behind a giant concrete slab. Because of this, he has had to try to troubleshoot how to get to this area to fix it. That's a little extra complicated. We need to get it repaired, sealed up, and insulated. We need to take the slab out of the equation, or at least enough of it so that we can get to the area, which is why we are getting a jackhammer for Christmas. There are certain jobs here that we have thought, previously that a jackhammer would be handy, and Mr. Adventure happened to find one at a pretty decent price, and so he went ahead and ordered it. Because we have kind of a limited window to get this job done, we need to do it when it's warm enough. It's kind of crunch time, and we have to have all of the possible options lined up and ready to fly as they come. There are plenty of other outside tasks that we haven't had a chance to address because the weather has been really uncooperative this year in general. We didn't get a spring and we didn't get a fall. We are feeling woefully underprepared for winter. We're trying to get everything that we can done within the little time fragments that we have where the weather is cooperative and we happen to have time and there's not a million other things going on. And so yeah, so that's happening. I'm sure I'll keep you posted on that. All right, so those things are happening, and also I am in the middle of a massive house-wide organization project. I've been really excited about this because I have finally been able to really get an idea of how the spaces inside of our house really work within our lifestyle and kind of establish order and function and troubleshoot how to use the areas. And so I've been really digging into this project. Technically, we haven't finished moving into our house. It's been like 4 years, but we haven't finished moving in yet. I have a really good setup in the works, and it's been very orderly, and it's been something that I can maintain. And so this has kind of been a long process in the making, but I am really encouraged at how it's going so far. quality materials in here. And if it's not overwhelming, then I'm more likely to use it. So that's one of the first tasks that I can identify. I organized all of my candy supplies in here, all of the jars and lids and other materials. This box actually used to be my toy box when I was a kid. We painted it and we were using it as a toy box out here. But after the kids kind of downsized their toys, I have commandeered it for my soap making supplies. All of the ingredients that I harvested and all of the supplies are here, and it acts like a kind of like a giant drawer that I can pull out and add things to, and hopefully I can get started with my soap making stuff on here. Sparkly by this weekend. The deadline that we're kind of working on with all this stuff is the 22nd, because that is my little farmer boy's birthday. And so after his birthday, it's kind of all the events of the holiday season, and then before we know it, we'll be in next year, and it'll be crazy. But for the most part, we are just kind of plowing forward, trying to keep up with stuff, and I'm sure that we'll have plenty of updates to offer as we proceed forward. So that's what's going on here at Adventure Acres lately. I hope everything's going well with all y'all as you prepare for the holiday season and the upcoming year. I would love to hear how things are going with you, so feel free to post in the comments below. This is Daisy signing off for now. You want to show them your little gap where your teeth are supposed to be? Whee. Good thing it's not sweet corn season. Howdy. Watch that first step. It's a bit of a doozy.